We're good? Okay. Good evening and welcome to the February Combined Neighborhood Watch Meeting and Amazing Citizen Award. For those that don't know me, my name is Lieutenant Ashley Banks with the Culpeper Police Department, Lieutenant of Community Policing. We have a special person to recognize tonight, as well as two presentations tonight. So it's a little bit different, but we're trying to pack as much information we can into the meeting. Before we get started, I'd like to recognize a few people here in attendance. We have Mayor of Town of Culpeper, Frank Reeves, is here with us. Town Manager Chris Hively is here. We also have Council Member Joe Short. I think he's in the back. And then Board of Supervisors Chairman, Mr. Paul Bates, is also with us here. And we have one of our past award winners, Mr. R.E. Dean, is with us as well. So always we like to show a quick video of the amazing citizen and to hear from his friends and family of what makes him so amazing. Oh, sorry, I almost forgot the sheriff is here with us. He just came for the food.
Welcome to Culpeper, a town and county unlike any other. Pastoral views, a vibrant downtown, where destinations and activities abound. There is one aspect in particular that helps Culpeper rise above the rest: the people. Every day, all over the community, people are working to make a difference.
Oh, I think Amazing Citizen for me is somebody that goes above and beyond everything that you could think of for a normal day's work.
A lack of selfishness, a giving personality, someone who thinks about the circumstances and the need more than he thinks about himself.
Someone that gives back to the community, someone that cares about his fellow man.
They just genuinely want to help and care.
Yeah, and I think that definitely speaks for my dad.
And that's basically my feelings toward Steve Corbin. He's a giver, and he's a hard worker, and he's honest, and he's a great friend.
He's, of course, family man. He loves his country, he loves his town, and it's just nothing that he wouldn't do to make something better for Culpeper.
Anything that he starts, he gives 110%. He's there from the beginning to the end, no matter how long it takes.
He's always helping people. I know that at the fire department, when someone is sick or someone needs something, he is the first one to come and sincerely calls and says, "What can I do for you?" And he means it. And if you need something, he's there with it.
Again, it's just like the little things that he does every day, that he like answers the phone call at any like first ring to answer a stranger's phone call that needs help for housing, or even needs help with money for a short-term period to get on their feet. Like, he's just there.
He's really hands-on in the community, while also raising us three by himself. So I wouldn't be where I am today without him.
He is an amazing citizen, I think, for many, many years. I think he's been an amazing citizen just because of how much he does for his community. I mean, he's involved in so many different things. And aside from that, he has helped so many different people that I don't even think people know, just how much he does.
Steve is 100% the mold of the Amazing Citizen. He's one of those people that when you look in an event, if you look at a carnival, if you look at the Blue Red Santa Project, if you look at affordable housing, you look at anything that's around town that has public influx, he's in the middle of it.
The Blue and Red Santa Project. That's kind of Steve's baby. A few years back, he organized it, found the funding. We started out taking 150 kids shopping at Christmas time to the needy. after we take them shopping and everything, we carry them down to Brandy Station, who came on board for breakfast, and the Eagles group takes and fixes breakfast for their whole families.
And then he's involved in a couple different things with the affordable housing, homelessness, things like that.
That's a difficult thing to solve, but he has given his all to that, including purchasing houses, making them habitable and safe, and keeping his rents far below market and getting people in those houses. And he's got a lot of them around this community. So he's a constant battle in his mind between solving the housing crisis and solving the bureaucratic crisis.
It's really tough to pick out one thing. If I would have to pick out one thing, I guess it would be his fire department activity as president. It takes a special person to accomplish that.
And I remember a couple times I've been on the phone with him. If he's been driving, he's witnessed an accident or something. He's like, I have to go and help. And he literally being like a fireman, he literally goes and assists the accident.
I mean, I could say me and my fiance, like a couple weeks ago, we were with my dad, and there was a man that was like broken down on the side of the road, could not get his truck started. My dad instantly pulls over. He's got a battery pack in the back of his truck. He's getting it out. He's hooking that guy up. He's working it out with him. I mean, and we're both like, oh my gosh, like we don't have time. But he's, just not taking no for an answer. He's on the phone. He's calling people. I mean, that's kind of just one of the small things, but that just shows like who he is, to take time out of his day, no matter what, to make sure someone's like doing okay.
Well, I just think if anybody has a real problem that they think it has a solution, one of the first people they ever think about is Steve Corbin. And they take that problem to him, whether it be social services, the town, the fire department. They know Steve will listen, and if he can help the situation, he will jump in with both feet. And I think that just speaks volumes about who he is.
I just genuinely think it makes him feel good to know that he can help people. If he can help people, like, that's what he wants to do.
He's just always the type of person who's there for you.
You hear that term servant heart. When you have somebody like Steve, that's the epitome of a servant heart. He gives and gives and gives and gives 100%. So he's a person that people will approach for a specific problem or a specific fix, and he comes up with ideas to help facilitate that. But again, that goes back to the servant heart. He is a true servant of Culpeper.
He's always doing something that benefits people, and he's a goer, he's a doer. That's pretty much it. But he can't fish.
Well deserved, Steve. I know that our 50 plus years together, we've traveled, we've golfed, we've shared a beverage or two, and you invited me into your home. You treat me like family, and you have a lot of friends you treat like family, so I can't, that's part of what makes you an amazing citizen. So good job, keep it up, and let's just see what's next for Steve.
Yeah, congratulations, Steve. Again, we appreciate everything you do here locally. As the new sheriff, I'm going to be leaning on you quite a bit, so can't wait to see you and how we can put some partnerships together with that as well.
Steve, you know we're not only business partners, but I think we've become very close friends over the past decade or so. When I was asked to sit here and run my mouth a little bit, all I could say was, how fast can I do it, and when do you want me there? Because it is an absolute pleasure to say congratulations for this honor, and it is extraordinarily well deserved.
Steve, I want to congratulate you on this honor. It's well deserved. I'm very proud of the things you do for the department, and keep up the good work. Look forward to working side by side with you in the future.
Steve, congratulations. You have more than deserved this. You've earned it, and you keep doing what you're doing, helping people, being the nice guy that you are, and being a brother. Thank you.
Definitely congratulations. Definitely well deserved. And just thank you for being a role model, not only to me, Savannah, Lauren, Stephanie, but also to Culpeper.
I definitely would say congratulations. This was definitely long overdue for this award for him, just everything he's done, and I wouldn't be where I am without him. I love him so much, and I give my whole life to this man. He's my hero.
There isn't enough time, and there isn't a great sentence to put into words. That didn't even make sense, but you're the best dad. You deserve this. You deserve this for many years, I think. You go above and beyond for your family, for your community, and I'm just really, really proud of you, and I'm really proud to be your daughter.
With that, I'll have Chief Settle come up along with Captain Terrell.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to Jonathan Krawchuk and Culpeper Media Network for doing these amazing videos. Every time we do one of these, he always impresses. So thank you, Culpeper Media Network, for that. Second of all is, Lieutenant Banks always gets on me about this, is I always forget Congresswoman Spanberger's presentation and Mark Borden first. So I'm going to call up him first so I can get out of the way. So a representative from Congresswoman Spanberger's office, Mark Borden, the local representative, has a presentation for you as well.
Good evening, everybody. My name's Mark Borden from Congresswoman Spanberger's office, and I'm here to personally hand deliver a letter of congratulations to you, sir. Dear Mr. Corbin, as a U.S. Representative for Virginia's 7th Congressional District, I'm pleased to offer you my congratulations on receiving the Culpeper Police Department Chris R. Jenkins Amazing Citizen Award. The Amazing Citizen Award recognizes individuals in the community who go above and beyond in making Culpeper a better place. I'm honored to recognize you for your service to this great community. Throughout your life spent in Culpeper, you've dedicated your time and your energy serving this community with passion. From your work with the Blue and Red Santa Project to the time you dedicate to the Culpeper County Volunteer Fire Department, your commitment to Culpeper is clear and worthy of this distinguished recognition. Your dedication and investment in the betterment of this community, as well as the selfless nature of your work, serves as a shining example for all of us. This community clearly knows that you're worthy of an honor such as this award, and it's my pleasure to congratulate you on this well-deserved recognition. Thank you again for your dedication to your neighbors and your community. Your acts of kindness and selflessness are inspiring, and they've not gone unnoticed. I'm pleased to join the Culpeper Police Department in recognizing you for this award, and I look forward to your future opportunities to thank you in person to the community.
Thank you.
Johnny K put a mic on me, I believe, right? I'm good? So you put a mic on me, says I move around too much when I talk, which I do, so I'm moving around right now. So what this video does for me personally is every 2 months we do this Chris R. Jenkins Amazing Citizen Award, and every time it reaffirms that, that humanity is great. And it reaffirms that Culpeper is probably one of the greatest places on earth. And I tell everybody that, and I mean that. And it's because of people like Steve Corbin that makes Culpeper the greatest place on earth, because of his commitment and his volunteerism and his just general care for Culpeper and the people of Culpeper. And again, way long overdue, I agree, but we're here tonight and we're going to honor him. And there's so many other people in this room probably overdue as well, but the work that Steve has done in this community is invaluable. And he's touched so many lives and touched so many kids and being a personal part of Red Blue Santa. I would tell you, and I know the sheriff and everybody in this room has been to the Red Blue Santa, a lot of the firefighters in here. The general joy and smiles on the faces of those families and those kids who come into Walmart at 6:30 in the morning, and when they go out to Brandon Station Firehouse and they see Santa Claus, and it is probably a priceless moment. I get emotional even thinking about it myself. But Steve is part of the huge backbone of that project. He took it and he ran, and he is very passionate. And if you know anything about Steve, is during these projects is you always know where he stands, and he doesn't make no bones about that. So that's one of the things that makes him great. So I can't express enough thanks from the Culpeper Police Department, the citizens of the town of Culpeper, for your gracious volunteerism and what you've done for the community. And I kind of look at Chris R. Jenkins Amazing Citizen Award, and I kind of think, gosh, they're kind of parallel, like two homegrown Culpeper guys growing up here, getting involved in doing public service, the fire department. Of course, I think Chris was part of the fire department rescue squad there too at some point. Him being part of the police department, you becoming the fire department, and doing great things for the community. And I see, gosh, what a parallel, what a good fit for the Chris R. Jenkins Amazing Citizen Award. You two are kind of two peas in a pod. I don't know if you two agree on that or not, but just the way I see it. So without further ado, I'll have Captain Terrell come up with the award, and I'm going to ask Mr. Corbin to step forward. And we're going to pass out some hardware. I'm going to put you in the middle here, Steve.
All right, do that.
Okay. All right. I told Banks I could do this without my glasses on. It is with great honor we present Steve Corbin with our Chris R. Jenkins Amazing Citizen Award. In recognition of your endless efforts dedicated to community outreach and involvement, the Culpeper Police Department and the community we serve appreciate your dedication and unconditional support. Your commitment to community service truly epitomizes what makes you an amazing citizen. Congratulations for this outstanding accomplishment, February 20th, 2024. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks to everyone that was part of this.
Oh, yeah, you got done yet. That's not your turn yet. Hey, you staying right here. I'm running this show tonight, Steve. This ain't Walmart at 6:30 in the morning. This is my show. I'm just kidding.
That's all right.
Because we have such a great community, and Culpeper it's truly amazing. We have a lot of businesses who also want to show their support and their gratitude for your service to Culpeper. So we'll get a couple other gifts. So
Wonderful.
I'm sure you're going to share these with your family.
I will, yes. Yeah.
And I hope my children say the wonderful things about me when they grow up, as your daughters have done too, by the way. So yeah. So we have a gift certificate here from Piedmont Steakhouse. They said they're going to dinner tonight.
Yes. Thank you.
We have a gift certificate to Raven's Nest as well.
Wonderful.
And your favorite, our Culpeper institution,
That is
Canackles.
Yes, that is the institution.
The fire department's going to inspect donuts one morning.
That's right.
And this is for the daughters. It's about time.
That's correct.
Anything about that?
Yes.
Okay. Andrew. Oh, I never heard this story before, but I'm sure it's somewhere. So we have a nice gift. I don't know what it is, to be honest with you, but from the Green Roost on Davis Street.
All right.
And from Raining Cats and Dogs, Monica and all her friends down there. It says stay positive.
Well, I will stay positive.
Positive. We're going to pile it on. We're going to pile it. Andrew can help you out there a little bit if you want.
All right.
And then we have an amazing arrangement and a gift certificate from Shenandoah Garden Spot right there on Main Street of Culpeper.
Oh, wow.
So it's very nice.
Wonderful.
So I'll give that back. I won't do that to you.
Yeah, my hands are getting full, so
You can put out stuff back there. He'll give them back to him.
Tom Boyd's going to send a car wash,
Oh, we got this too. Also, Endless Creations, Flowers and Gifts. I sent that as well, so make sure you guys take that with you as well. So, having said that, Steve, we do this don't let you off the hook for working in the future. So we expect actually more output from you going forward. So God help us all if that happens. We're all going to be very busy. But I do want to thank you, and now the floor is yours, my friend.
All right, thank you. I don't know where to start, but what I do it from my heart. And I do it not for self-gratitude. I do it to help the community because I love this community and I love the people in it. I love the fire service, and that's one of the reasons I do that. And I love children. And that's another reason I help the homeless and the less privileged and those that are looking for affordable housing, and also the blue and red. But I will back up on the blue and red. When that first started, it was not only me, it was Tim Chilton, it was Chris Settle, and Tim Sis. That was the first meeting, that was the brainstorm, and that's where it got started. And we all took it and ran with it. And I have to say, Chief has been a big supporter, the Sheriff's been a big supporter, Tim and Tim Sis. And then now we brought on, we're fortunate enough to have Kim Green, that's been our Secretary and Treasurer, now Melanie Mackison. And we're really making things grow, and we're growing in a wonderful way. We're outreaching to other parts of the community with other things that we're able to do with the children, schools, the underprivileged in the schools, and we're looking toward the homeless. And we're gathering clothing, doing stuff for the women's abuse shelter. Help me out, Kim. I mean, we've got a big list of stuff that we're starting to do, but it's all community related, and it's all for the less fortunate and underprivileged. So, and if there's anything else I can do to help with anybody else do anything, I still have a few minutes here and there that I will share, do it. But thank y'all again so much, and for the kind words and everything. But I'm overwhelmed. I don't expect anything. I do it because I want to. So thank y'all very much. Thank you. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
sir.
Yeah, if anybody wants to roast him, you can come forward now too. No, I'm just kidding. Wayne, you stay seated. So what's going to happen now, right? We'll take a break. So we're going to take a quick break. What's going to happen during that break is, one, we're going to eat all that food that's out in the lobby. And secondly is the Corbin family and some people in the audience, and I'm sure some of his buddies back there, we're going to take some wonderful pictures. So, and then about 10 minutes or so, we'll come back. We do have a great program tonight. We got two programs for you tonight. So we got Andrew Hopewell, who's our Director of Planning and Zoning, to come up and talk about their activities and what they're working on throughout the town. And then our very own talented Julia Cole and Tim Sisk, previously mentioned. We'll talk about our drone program and kind of let you guys know about our drone program, the aircraft that we fly, and all about what missions we fly on. And we'll show our drones, right, Julia? We're going to show our drones. And actually, we help the fire department with our drones as well. So we'll tell you about that as well. So we'll take a 10-minute break, go eat, be merry, come back 10 minutes, and we're going to take pictures. Again, thank you for coming to our Neighborhood Watch meeting. We want to also thank our Facebook Live viewers. Well, I think we have up to 40-some Facebook Live viewers watching live, so it's good. So we might get some questions from them later on. So first of all, as we do, we always do introductions for our new officers that comes on board at the police department. So it's kind of odd to have this new officer, to announce this new officer. So I'll ask new officer Nick White to come forward. As we know, the past few months, both agencies have been in some transition, and we've been in some leadership transitions the past 2 months with our good captain, our good deputy chief, who decided to run for sheriff, and the voters decided to put him as the sheriff, which we lost a very good man and a very good leader at the police department, which created a big hole, a big void in our operational and administrative staff here at the police department. So we knew we had a big hole to fill with council support and the manager support and HR support. We did an advertisement, and it was a very competitive process, and it was not a fun process, I will tell you, a couple months long. But eventually the cream rose to the top, and then he turned it down. We hired Nick. No, I'm just kidding. I gotta get my. Nick's certainly stood above the rest of all the other applicants. And I'll tell you, we got applicants all the way from Virginia, obviously all the way to Utah, to Texas, to Illinois, and a lot in Virginia. So it was a very competitive process because Culpeper is a great place to work, and everybody recognizes that, and they want to work here. And Nick was in that same boat. So Nick went out and got his law degree. Nick used to work here. For those that you didn't know, he worked here for a couple of years. He left in 2020. He left in 2020, and he went in some adventure about a law degree and becoming a lawyer. We'll excuse him for that. And then another transition to sheriff's office, and then the transition back to the town, where he was an MPO detective for us for many years before he left, and he joined the dark side of defense work and attorney work. So it's good. You know, he got the law degree. He went out. It's like, you know, it's like buying a brand new red Corvette. You got to go out and test drive and see how it is. And once you got to drive it, it's like, you know, it's just another car, you know. So let me go back to police work. So that's kind of what I kind of summed it up to. So, but we are honored to have Nick White as our major, that serves as our deputy chief, join the Culpeper Police Department, and we're glad to have him. We're lucky to have him, and I'll turn the floor over to you. Microphone.
All right, I don't have a speech prepared. I wish Steve would still here. I was going to tell him that I didn't bring gifts, but I could talk to my wife about maybe a tax break, although she doesn't listen to me either, so I probably wasn't going to help. It's an honor and privilege to be here and work back at the Culpeper Police Department for the chief and for the men and women that I used to work with here. It's a great office. It's a great agency supported by the mayor, the council, town manager, and just the community in general. I've been in the Culpeper area for almost 23 years now. And for those of you who don't know, my wife is the Culpeper County Treasurer, Missy White. So, but it is an honor and privilege to work here and be a part of this office in this town and a part of this neighborhood watch combined program. Some of you I know. If I don't know you, please introduce yourself afterwards. I'll introduce myself. I look forward to working for each and every one of you.
And all calls go to him. So you got an issue, called I'll call Captain Terrell. Those are your two guys. And yeah. So other than that, our next presentation is our director of our planning and zoning, Andrew Hopewell. Andrew is one of our department management team department heads, and as I'm a department head, we, under the leadership of Chris Havley, who's our manager, we work really well together. And so Andrew Hopewell wanted to come and update our citizens, our Facebook Live citizens, and our in-person citizens to some things that the planning and zoning department's working on. So Andrew, the floor is yours.
I do think there may have been a little bit of payback here, since I usually go first at our committee meetings and drag them out, that I got the spot right before everyone wants to see the drones. So I'll try and keep this fairly brief. What I wanted to get a chance to talk to everybody about and inform you about is we are undertaking a complete overhaul of our zoning and subdivision ordinance here in the town. And so this is going to impact everybody in the town, everybody who owns property, in terms of changing the regulations that govern what you can do in your property and how you do it. So I wanted to just run through very quickly and then show you. We've got an online site set up that will give folks a chance to look at their properties in particular and specifically, and compare what the rules are currently versus what's being proposed for it. So really get a chance to look at it, see how it may impact you, and then provide us feedback on that. So as I said, I'll try and run through the presentation itself pretty quickly. We'll go to the site quickly, and then we'll get to the fun part of the drones. So Johnny, if we can move forward. So why are we looking to do the update now? Essentially, we haven't done a comprehensive overhaul of our zoning and our subdivision ordinance since it was originally adopted back in the 1960s. We've done piecemeal changes here and there, but we haven't looked at it holistically to make sure that it's keeping track with changes in development, changes in ways that people use their properties. So things like short-term rentals weren't contemplated when these were originally adopted. So we're looking to make sure that we have the most up-to-date code, that works for where we are today and where we want to be in the future. So one of the key things as well is this idea of being more user-friendly and streamlined. So we'll touch on that in a moment. If we can go on to the next one. So one of the key things as well is that currently, as I said, we've got two different set of rules that regulate. We've got a subdivision ordinance and a zoning ordinance. What we're proposing is a unified ordinance. It's essentially one set of rules that integrates both aspects of these land development processes to try and make it a little bit easier and more digestible. If we can go to the next one, Johnny. So one of the ways, I don't know if any of you have looked at our zoning ordinance, and it's not just us, it's typical for most zoning ordinances. It's a whole lot of text, a whole lot of words, and a whole lot of difficulty in actually understanding and digesting what is being proposed. So what we're looking at is having one that has more visual aids in it that make the concepts and the rules and regulations easily understandable to everybody, and trying to make sure that they are objective and able to be applied universally across the board. So this is a process that's been going on for some time. This started actually back in 2020. We've had some hiccups along the way. We've had really the entire staff of the department turnover. We've had COVID come in there, and we've had a post-COVID development boom here in town that really has had us doing everything we can just to keep up with the applications that are coming across the table. But we're proud to say we're at a stage now where we are looking to spread the word with the community and get the feedback. We've had the chance to work with an advisory group and with an outside consultant to develop the code that we have so far. And now we're wanting to share it with the community at large and get your feedback and input on it. And so we're going to have a series of meetings. We'll be going out to various groups, having these conversations with them to share what we're proposing. And looking to get that feedback and input to make sure we have the strongest code possible as we move forward. We'll skip this one, really. This just gets into what it is, but here's what we're looking at as far as the draft zoning. We've reduced the number of zoning districts we have in town, trying to shrink it again, that simplification. And we're looking to move to really a hybrid type of zoning. And what that means is, it's shown a little bit more on the next slide here. Our traditional zoning, what we have right now, what most folks have, the primary focus of the zoning is focused on the use, what exactly it is you're using the property for. You then have sort of the management of that, what the regulations are specifically, and the smallest consideration on it is the form, what it looks like, what it functions like, how it feels. Well, we've got a very special, particularly downtown here, that has a unique character to it that we want to preserve and see enhanced with development in the future. So for our downtown and the immediate surrounding areas, we're proposing to move to more of a form-based code where the primary focus of the regulations are concerned about the form. The management and sort of those standards are still important, but the actual uses inside are secondary in the considerations, because does it really matter if it's a restaurant versus an office inside? The impacts are the lesser concern there, as opposed to how it fits, how it functions within the context of the built environment. All right, if we can move on to the next one, Johnny. So again, this is just what I had said, where the use is the organizing structure. In the conventional, they're typically those text-heavy ones. If we go to the next one. And so looking to go to the form-based, where the form itself is the organizing structure. That's the primary focus of the regulations themselves. So really what this is, when we get to our residential ones, we have the different housing types of detached homes that we've seen, townhouses, and then also semi-attached homes. So. And then moving on. So this is what a better example of what it is that the new code is going to be looking at. As you can see, we've got the graphics in there, the images, to try and make it a little bit easier, as opposed to just those reams and reams of words and tables that aren't easy. We've got the specific bulk requirements highlighted and what that measurement is, how it will be applied, so that it should be easier for everybody to understand. And then in our mixed-use zones, as I said, these are where we're looking at the form in the downtown. We've got items that we're addressing related to building siding, the heights and roof, the description and intent, the parking, the street facade, the uses coming much later, as well as then the supplemental regulations. So again, we've got different types of buildings that we're going to be highlighting and having the different standards related to try and ensure that we get those building forms, so storefront buildings, row buildings, commercial house, civic buildings, etc. Go to the next one. And then we have our uses and the permitted uses. So while I know this table may look daunting to you now, our current one is 2 full pages of much denser and much more specific uses that are outlined, getting down to specifics as taxidermy, upholstery shops, which really, we don't need that level of specificity. It ultimately ends up hindering both us from an administrative perspective and also property owners who are wishing to go in. So we have much broader descriptions of the uses here that grant greater flexibility to group together like impact uses into one category and one set of regulations that will apply to them. So again, as we touched on, we've got the building design, which is going to come into play in those hybrid zones where or the form-based zones where we're looking at the form and the function. So we look at the facade materials, the entries, the balconies. We go on, Johnny, to the next one. Looking at landscape, site design. Again, these are aspects we have currently, but trying to, again, integrate a greater degree of imagery into it to make it digestible for everybody and easy to understand. So again, the next steps that we have is we're in the process right now of rolling out the plan to the public for them to take a look at and to review. Once we've had a chance to gather that input from everybody, we're going to be meeting with our advisory committee to look to incorporate all of that feedback into a final draft. That final draft will then be shared with the Planning Commission and Town Council in a joint work session to get their final feedback before we take it to a series of public hearings before both the Planning Commission and ultimately Town Council, who will look to adopt it. So where we stand right now, and Johnny, if you wouldn't mind just clicking that link, I know it'll take a second to get there. On the town's website, if you go to the Department of Planning and Community Development, right on that front page, we have a link on there, and this is the link right here. It's going to take you to a GIS hub site, and this is our page for the zoning update. If you want to just scroll down a little bit, Johnny, for me. It talks about what we've done, what we're trying to do, who the steering committee is. And it gets down to, as I said, keep going down. Talks about our traditional zoning versus our form-based zoning, and keep going down. We had a presentation 2 years ago to our Planning Commission Town Council from our consultants that talked about the form-based code. So we have a copy of that saved here. But we've got our maps, both of our proposed zoning, our current zoning, our use tables available here. But the part that I think folks are actually going to find the most useful, if you scroll down a little bit further, Johnny, right here is the zoning comparisons. And if you open the web map for that, what this tool allows you to do is to type in your property address. So if you want to just type in Town Hall 400 South Main Street, it'll help populate. If you just go with the S, it should, there we go. Click on the suite 300 there. As you can see below, it's going to zoom in right to that property for you. On the left, we have our current zoning. On the right, we have our proposed zoning. Right there underneath, you can see you've got the description of what the current zoning is, what the proposed zoning is in its description. You can compare that with other ones. We've got the land use chart. So you're able to look at directly on your particular properties and see what it is. If you've got concerns about it, if you want to make a comment to it, right there is the opportunity to click and submit a comment to it. If you submit it this way, where you've gone to a particular property, it'll give us that property as a reference so we know specifically which property you're talking about. Otherwise, below this, there's a chance to enter the feedback that's not specific to a particular property, but just to give us comments on the code as a whole. But this is something where we'd really appreciate you taking a look at it, take a look at your property, see how it may be impacted, and share with us just your thoughts, your feedback on what it is that's being proposed and how you think it may impact you. So I know it's a great deal of information of a topic that most folks aren't dealing with on a daily basis. So if there are questions, I'm happy to take them. I'm happy to stick around afterwards. You're welcome to take a look at this on your own time and contact my office, and we're happy to talk to anybody about this. But we do want to hear from you and make sure that what's being proposed for you and your property is going to be to help us to make the best Culpeper for the future. Yeah.
What immediate and visible changes do you anticipate based on this?
There's not going to be immediate visible changes. Essentially, what we're trying to do with this is, particularly in the downtown, ensure that we protect that character that we have in the downtown area. In the rest of the town to, again, provide the clear guidance and to simplify the development process for the property owners. So both from a development perspective and from a homeowner who may be wanting to do things. One of the things that this is also contemplating doing, and it'll be up to council to decide, we recognize that development is coming, growth is coming to the town of Culpeper. We're reaching a stage where we're largely built out. There aren't too many more green fields here in town. So to see future growth, we're going to likely have to get denser. We're going to see smaller lots. So this has contemplating smaller minimum lot sizes for development. And we're probably going to have to see more vertical development as well. And so there are provisions for that as well. Again, with the zoning, it's going to limit where that's appropriate. So again, we're not going to want to be seeing 5-story buildings next to single-family detached homes sort of a distance away from the town center, but provide opportunities for more dense development where we're able to best serve it and where we're able to preserve the character.
Comment in the response there, use the words ensure and protect. Currently, the town of Culpeper operates on a complaint-based system, as in something can happen, but if no one complains about it, it might carry on until it's caught some other time. Is part of this transition going to include more than the staff you have today for enforcement?
We're not at the moment contemplating changing how we would do zoning enforcement, so we would still be a complaint-based enforcement action. Again, the way essentially that the town currently does zoning, unless we're aware of some concern that would be a danger to human life or clear violations that may have impacts on property values, we essentially work on a complaints basis to enforce zoning. So we're not proactively going out looking for violations on properties because we simply don't have the manpower to be able to do that. So essentially the way we do it is on a responsive basis to those complaints. And as I said, I'm not anticipating, there has not been conversation about that changing going forward. The difficulty with that becomes, it can feel almost micromanagement if it's proactive enforcement of zoning. All right. As I said, if you have questions after looking at this, please don't hesitate to contact my office. We would be happy to talk with you, explain any aspects that may not be clear. Again, I know there was a great deal of information that was shared in a relatively short period of time. I apologize for keeping you from the drones. I know we can't wait to all see those. And I look forward to hopefully hearing from you in the future. So thank you.
All right. Johnny K? No? Okay. So thank you. Do we have any questions on Facebook, Johnny K? Just for GWIS? We did not. Okay, good. So our next part of our program tonight is our drones or our UAVs or unmanned aerial vehicles that we have here at the police department. Just a couple to pretext everything. I will tell in 2017 or 2018, I had this crazy idea. We had this crazy idea. We went to Chris Jenkins who was the chief then, about buying some drones. But back then, not many law enforcement agencies were flying drones. State code was very restrictive about flying drones, which we certainly appreciate that because everything we do, we don't mind guardrails, and we want to fly them responsibly, ensuring privacy, but also being able to save lives and help find missing people and missing kids. So we went to Mr. Havley, who was the town manager then, and said, hey, we want to buy some drones. He said, what? And we for some further discussion, he said, okay, we'll put it in our operating budget of the town council and see what town council thinks. Town council, as they always do, they never say no to the police department, and they approved our first drone fleet, which was 4 smaller drones and our big drone. And then since then, we've updated some of the equipment with some grant opportunities. But so I'll introduce Master Police Officer Tim Sisk and Master Police Officer Julia Cole, who Tim Sisk is our UAV coordinator. He coordinates everything in the training, and Julia is one of our pilots. So I'll turn it over to them.
Thank you, Chief. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Tim Sisk. I am currently assigned as a detective here at the police department. I've been here for 24 years now, and 6 years prior to that was at the Culpeper County Sheriff's Office. So I've been doing this for 30 years. Can't complain much. Enjoy it, and the chief was right. It was about 2017, 2018, he came up with this wild idea that we were going to incorporate drones. I'm a little bit older in this, and technology and I sometimes don't get along, but I said, hey, let's give this a shot. I think 2020 was when we first got the team together, and we've been flying high, no pun intended, ever since. But Johnny, if you want to hit the play button there, this was some footage. But we incorporate using the drones in quite a bit of different things. And again, when I got started in law enforcement, if you wanted any type of aerial reconnaissance or any type of aerial photographs, you had to make arrangements with the airport. You had to find somebody willing to fly. You had to get in a helicopter. You had to pay that fuel bill. And now within 2 minutes, we can have a bird in the air. So it is much different and much better than the old ways of doing things. So it has improved.
The lighting, but that's right, the light was bad.
Kind of a little bit of our history. Like I said, we did begin in 2020. I signed up and decided to be a pilot and said, hey, let's give this a shot. Then one day I got that phone call from the chief that you always dread and he goes, hey, come by my office for a minute. And I said, uh-oh. So sure enough, I went by there and he says, by the way, you're now in charge of the drone program. And I said, what? But since then, we have done a lot. Julie was in the program from the beginning. Chief flew with us for a while. We restrict him from flying, but he does get in there for a little bit. And even Nick White was part of the original team. But the chief's been very supportive of our drone program and being able to keep us actually in the air. And some of the purposes that we created the team was expanding our efficiency in criminal investigations, locating missing and endangered individuals, and public safety and community outreach. We use these a lot, and we've had a lot of success stories that I'll talk about as we go on in the program. But when we started, we had 6 pilots, and like the chief said, we had 5 drones. Now I think we're up to 10 pilots, and we currently have 8 drones.
Technically 10, 8 in service.
Yeah, we had one little mishap, but it happens. Especially when we use the equipment a lot, it happens. But we are planning on expanding, and when the chief gave me the coordinator's position, I kind of asked what that details, and I've discovered a lot of time in his office, talking about budget and trying to get some other stuff in the future. But one of the goals when I took over the program, because we were getting called a lot, not only by our agency and our people here, but we were getting called by Orange County, Rappahannock County, Fauquier. Well, Fauquier had their own set of drones, but we went as far as Luray to support state police there. So we were getting a lot of calls of where we were going all over the place. So we actually developed to where this was actually a shot in Luray, but we actually developed to where we have at least 2 pilots now per shift. So we have somebody capable of flying pretty much 24/7 now. So if something has happened, they can actually get a bird in the air. If they need a vast unit, then we can call out more team members to actually go out and be able to get the equipment up. This is an overwatch that we did. We were there supporting state police. They were serving a warrant and needed some overwatch in the area, but this was some pictures from that event. But we've actually used it in special events to provide that eye in the sky. We've used it a lot for high-risk operations. And just recently we have added, and we'll show this off here in a minute, but we've added an interior capability. And matter of fact, there it is. You can go ahead and play on that, Johnny, if you like. But what this allows us to do is this allows us to actually clear an area before we send boots on the ground in there. So I can send the drone down the steps and we can actually clear this entire basement area before we even send a human down that stairwell. So
if it's not clear in the video, that would be called a funnel of death for us, because you have a very narrow stairwell, you have 2 90-degree turns, they could only go down at best 1 at a time. So the ability to send, let me go back for our audience online. What I was pointing out, which it may not be clear to see, this looks great on a computer, by the way, not so great when you have spotlights on it. But this would be considered a, go back, thank you. A funnel of death is what we would call this tactically, because our officers can only go down this narrow stairwell 1 at a time. You have 2 90-degree turns. We don't know what's in that basement. So it would be a very, very risky situation for our officers to go down 1 at a time. So the ability to send this drone in and be able to watch it in real time, which, by the way, another fun fact about this video, the pilot is outside 70 yards away, standing next to the chief of police who had command of this specific seat. So as he is flying, the chief is able to watch it on the camera in real time and coordinate with the officers in the building about what they are seeing. So this is a huge safety asset for our officers. That's my context.
great. And one of the things too is tactically we call owning real estate. And what the drones have allowed us to do is to own that real estate before we actually send humans in. If it's a hallway, if it's this hallway or this building, I can come in and clear this room and still keep an eye on it as the guys flood in to take up that real estate and take up that area. So it has definitely been some huge advantages. We've used the interior systems quite a bit. We've used them to clear some break-ins that we've had before the guys could go in. We've used them in training with the sheriff's office when we've had some active shooter training. We've used them in correlation with them to fly into some of the schools where we can clear classrooms and stuff of that nature.
Model.
This is actually, and we were going to get to this, but you look like a bug when you're wearing this, but this is actually first-person viewing. Everything that this little guy sees, we see as pilots in here. We actually do not get to see what's going on around us, so that's why we always have somebody there that is watching our back as we're flying, but we're actually seeing everything that's in there. This one is actually piloted by this. It's a little joystick. And the pilot actually has the ability to, everywhere he turns this stick, he or she, turns this stick is how the drone will actually react. So if he wants it to go up, he sends stick up and vice versa and left and right. And you're a great Vanna White, by the way.
Gosh.
And we see everything inside of this. One of the updates that we're trying to do is get a larger monitor to where we can plug this in and everybody who's on command can see what the pilot is seeing better than just looking at on our cell phones. So that is one of the updates that we are trying to go to. I talked earlier a little bit about assisting other places, but we have been Town of Orange, County of Orange, of course, Luray Police Department, Virginia State Police, Spotsylvania Fire Department, Culpeper County Sheriff's Office, Town Public Works. We've actually used with flying to lake to check on algae and stuff of that nature, that we can give them photographs and stuff back. Light and Power, we've used to fly power lines to see overgrowth and stuff to where they would need to go down and trim, etc. And Culpeper Renaissance, we use it on our third Thursdays and provide overwatch and stuff of that nature. And this is where I discovered that I am not a firefighter. This was a forest fire. It was down in Richardsville area that Julie and I went down to fly. And Spotsylvania County actually had command on this, but they wanted us to fly. Fauquier was there also flying it. This was a large, out of control fire. So we were flying toward the epicenter, I guess, of this. And the chief was able to actually look at this, the fire chief, and actually see the way the wind was blowing. They could see the direction of the hot spots. They could see where they needed to go in and get the fire lines. So this technology actually provided a lot of details and stuff for this fire. But as you can see, you can definitely see from this footage of how the wind was actually blowing, how the fire was actually going to travel. Julie and I learned a valuable lesson that day to listen to the forest fire people, because when they came running out the fire road and said, "Get in your cars, let's get out of here," we got out of there. But it was definitely an interesting experience. But this was all captured by, we call her Goliath because it is our largest unit. But this was captured by our Matrice 300 with the camera system that is there. But I mean, you can clearly see the camera is spectacular. It is all done in high resolution. And this even has a program on it called Drone Sense. And when we launch it on Drone Sense, the chief, the major, the captain, they all get alerts that we're airborne. And what happens is they can actually open up a thing in the phone and actually see firsthand what that drone is seeing. So they're seeing it live. I know Julie flew a thing last year, and I was at the beach, and I was sitting at the beach watching it on my phone. Couldn't provide a whole lot of help, but I was actually watching it on the phone, so it was kind of interesting.
So another wonderful thing about our drones when we are assisting other agencies with calls like fire is not only does it offer this beautiful clear picture where we can do wide out shots or we can zoom in, but actually, John, if you want to go to the next slide, please. What's really nice is we can do thermal imaging, and that we can actually do a split screen at the same time where we are seeing both the live view and we're seeing the thermal, which we learned fire really appreciates. So this is a residential fire, and you have not only the on-scene view, but obviously they're going to need to know where the hot spots are. So you can ignore the little red spots, those are people. The white spot is the main fire, but you'll also notice the neighbors' houses are starting to get a little toasty on the roof, which if you're trying to put out a fire, it helps to know where the next fire is going to be. And so that way, the on-scene command can direct their resources and their attacks to actually help fix the problem. And at nighttime, if you can't see as well, this is also really good. Because for us, if we are tracking somebody and it's dark out, I can see heat signatures, which is good when they're trying to run away.
You talk about your IRs as well.
Also, when we got this drone program, we actually have all of our patrol officers wear a Guardian light, which she can't get it off, which is okay. But
it's too attached to me. There you go.
This light actually sets on all of their shoulders, but on the very top, there is a small little itty bitty light, which is infrared. That allows us as pilots to actually see where our guys are. So this will actually blink, and with the large drone there, we can actually pinpoint where our guys are located. So we can see that, then if we see somebody hiding under the tree, we can actually radio and say, hey, this one, you are very close, he's 5 yards in front of you, et cetera, et cetera. So we can be those eyes for those officers that are on the ground, and we know where men and women are actually located. This was actually one of our really good success stories, but we actually went to Orange, myself and Officer Rustic went to Orange and flew, and they had a autistic child that had wandered off, and they had been looking for, they've had the dogs out there and nothing, they couldn't find. So Rustic and I actually went down and we took Goliath and we took one of our smaller birds, one of the Mavericks, and we actually flew that entire farm. Well, we were just about losing hope, and 1.3 miles from where we launched, we found her. She was actually in a grove of trees. She was playing. We kept eyes on her long enough to where we could, again, signal to the deputies of where she was located, and they actually got her and got her back safely. We've also flown with the town of Orange. They had an elderly gentleman that wandered off, and we did find him. We found him the next day, but we found him using drones and dogs that was working closely together. We did have a incident here 2 years ago?
No, last year.
It was okay, and it was my case. But it was an incident here to where we had a visiting citizen that was actually robbed, was pushed down, and her purse was taken. And immediately we had a drone in the air and was actually able to track that suspect. Again, we were able to get units to that area, and we apprehended the suspect without any problems or issues, which he did admit to everything, and we did find the purse. So one thing that we also started is all the pilots, when they come to work, they will grab a unit and they will have it with them. So it's in the patrol vehicles, it's out there, it's on the streets. And if they see fit, they notify the supervisors and notify our dispatch centers that we have a drone in the air and what the purpose is. So we can have that extra support up rather quickly. And like I said, having 2 pilots per shift has been really awesome here lately. All right, you can go ahead to the next one. Currently, what we have in our fleet, we have the Matrice 300, which my Vanna White here. This one we nicknamed Goliath because it is our big unit, our big bird. It has a very, very good camera on it, which one of these slides we've got some
expensive camera.
Yeah, expensive camera. But at some of these slides, we do have a picture of this camera that we'll talk about here in a few minutes. But that is one that we use a lot. And in the future, we're looking at supplementing her with basically her sister, who's a little smaller, that we can actually have those flight capabilities. This actually has a capability, I believe, and Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this can go up to about 7 miles from where we launch.
9 miles.
Okay, because I knew the new one was 9. I couldn't. The little ones that we have, like the little Mavs, they're easily 2 to 3 miles from where we actually launch from. Everything is GPS oriented, so on our controllers, we actually have where we can flip and look at the map, and it shows us where we are, and it shows us where our bird is actually located at. So if it gets too far away, we do have a lovely come home button, so we can actually hit and it will actually come back to us where that controller is located.
That camera that comes with that, just so everybody knows, it's kind of a 4-in-1 function camera. It has a wide zoom on it. It has a telezoom on the Matrice underneath of it. It has a super tele zoom lens on it. It also has the infrared, the IR camera on it for hot spots, as you saw. It also has a laser rangefinder on it. So it's kind of a 4-in-1 camera, that camera does.
Now, if you look at this video here, if you notice, before you hit play, but if you notice in the very background, that's the Ardent Mills.
Cargill.
Argill, yeah. I think it's now Ardent, but anyway. That's the flour mill that's located off of Route 3, close to Merchant's Grocery in that area. We are over a mile.
Yeah, 1.8 miles.
Okay, we're at Yalometa Park where we actually launched this, and go ahead if you don't mind and hit the play button. But you can see how capable that zoom is. And like the chief just said, we were 1.8 miles from that actual location. So the zoom on it is spectacular. We can actually launch and not even be in the area and be able to zoom in and tell people what's going on. The matrice is actually built, if you notice, the propellers are actually inverted, so it is a quieter system. And again, at 200 feet, you really don't hear it. It's pretty quiet. All right, what's the next slide? We should be getting close. Our future plans. I'm sorry.
The rest of the fleet.
Oh, yeah, I skipped it, didn't I? These are the Mavericks. Yeah, I'm sorry. These are the Maverick 2s. We currently have 3 of them, 4 technically, but we have 3 of them that are still operational. These are ones that are deployed every day, that actually will go out with the pilots and are deployed every day. They also carry one of the Avadas, which is the smaller ones, that is our indoor capabilities. So they carry that with them also, so there is at least 2 in a police car every day that goes out of here. The Mavericks, we actually have 2 different versions of. 2 of them are actually thermal, like what Julie showed you earlier on the slides, that we use primarily for nighttime flying. And then we have 2, well, 1.5, that are actually zoom, not as good as the zoom on the Matrix 300, but on the Mavs, it does have a good zoom that is used by our daytime pilots quite a bit.
And just to clarify, these 4 and Goliath. Sorry, thank you. Fair point. So the Matrice and the Mavericks are the original 5 drones that we purchased. So these are about 4, 5 years old, almost.
Mm-hmm.
The Avadas we acquired last year, so they are much newer, but these have been in service with Culpeper for 4 years now.
And some of the things that we've been talking about as far as the future goes is increasing our fleet size, and we're looking at different grant fundings and different ways of doing that. And one of the ideas that the chief and I have been talking about is a tether system. And when we think tethers, we think tied down, kind of. There's a system to where we can actually put on Goliath that we can deploy and leave up forever if we want to, as long as it has power. Usually a generator or something will power it, but it will give us the capability for 4th of July, any of these major events that we have here in town, where we can actually put it up and we will still get the feedback, we will get the camera units, but we won't necessarily have to have a pilot right there flying it, because it will actually be up as long as it keeps getting power, it'll stay up. So that is one of the future things that we are looking at. We're also looking at some mapping software, and basically what that will do is we can take these drones out to major crime scene events or major crash events and let the drone literally do all the work, and it will actually go through and do photographs for us on a grid pattern, and we can come back, plug it into the program, and it will give us a dimensional 3D drawing of that event. And as the chief said, it will even give us what they call LiDAR measuring, to where we can actually put the measuring down from bumper to bumper of a car, and it will be accurate within a few inches. So it is some great programming that it's out there. We're also looking at doing some advanced training and definitely matching some technological advancements. That might be the last one. You can hit the next one. But again, we are still fairly young. We are advancing quite a bit with the team. The department's been a great support, for our team and getting things together. And we are definitely open to new ideas, but it is, technology's come a long way, and it does allow us to provide a lot of information quicker and more efficient to our guys and girls that are on the ground that are actually working. So, thank you.
Questions?
Is there any questions?
Question or comment? What's your maintenance cost on those? Any idea? Do you have long enough to develop
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're at the end of life for our batteries is the issue. So we're at the end of life for some of the batteries, and we've actually budgeted some money in the FY25 budget to replace. Actually, the FY24 budget we're currently in to replace, and Julie can take them out. The Matrice batteries, you can take them out. It takes 2 to operate. Each one of those batteries is $700. So we have 8 batteries. It costs $5,600 to replace those batteries. That's why we are looking at replacing that, because we've had a Matrice about 5 or 6. It's been over 5 years since we've had that. So obviously it's probably getting to end of life, and instead of maybe buying more batteries in the future, that's why we're trying to look for some grant opportunities to buy its little sister, the MT30. And then buying the tethering unit for that so we can still use it, tether it. At a fire scene, it's a perfect example for that. For command and control, you put it up 300 feet over top of a fire scene where fire command can see that, direct its people, and also see in the middle of the night after you leave that fire scene, you can still come back and look at those hot spots and see if any hot spots are flaring up. So they're pretty invaluable. A lot of fire departments are using tethered drones on top of fire trucks now. A lot of photo kites is the brand they're using. But other than blades, we do pay for some blades. Yes, I did crash some blades. Nick saw that one day in the building when we first got them. Yeah, I know it's probably coming. But I would tell you that those first 5 aircraft we purchased out of the operating budget that council approved. The Avadas, the interior drones, they're more valuable in their weight in gold for officer safety, and we purchased those through grant opportunities. And so we're looking at some. I talked to the manager today about some grant opportunities to replace some of these. So we'll be meeting soon to talk about some grant opportunities to start replacing some hardware.
Definitely valuable asset, no question. But it's nice on the fire side to see all 4 sides of that structure. Like that could lap, it falls down all holes.
And we were at the Baby Gym fire too, and actually captured quite a bit of photographs and stuff for that.
Awesome. And
So.
comment was, you may or may not be aware, that Department of Forestry, Division of Forestry, they have their drones to set backfires. They got the ping pong balls. I saw a demo in Virginia Beach last year, and they just set the Coliseum on fire, but they showed how they drop a little ping pong, hits ground, and mixes with something else in that little sphere, and they set the backfires, so they had to put people on the ground, same stuff to get that done. It's been a while.
Well, I mean, one of the things that we've talked about, but one of my success stories that I was part of is finding and locating that child, and there was no danger. These things, like the chief just said, it's their weight in gold. And there's been many more successes that I know I'm forgetting tonight, but it's definitely worth its weight in gold, and is a spectacular program. And I'm glad that our department is following suit of other departments. I've actually met with Rappahannock County, who officially started their drone program today because they've got that up and running. But I've been working with the guy up there to get that up and running. So we'll be working in the future, and even working with the sheriff's office, because they have a couple units too, that we will combine some resources and be able to do some stuff together also. So, but yeah, the technology is fantastic, and it, like the chief said, it's worth its weight in gold.
We have one other question.
Yes.
I had a question about the lenses and the communication. On the lenses, is that an optical zoom?
It is an optical zoom. Yeah, it is an
is.
optical zoom that's on that.
40 or 400 times?
I think that one's 400
That's a
times.
lot.
Yeah.
When we first got, I flew it right above this building at 400 feet and was reading tags at both high school parking lots, reading the tag numbers.
Second question related. There's, when you were demonstrating with it, one unit, you had the controller, your eyes, as well as the unit. The network that operates on, is that a secure network?
Yeah.
Is that Bluetooth?
It's actually through Wi-Fi, but it is secure through our Wi-Fi system
it's
that's routed in
encrypted.
our vehicles.
It's 250. Most of them are 256-bit encrypted. Coming back, what's the highest? It's another one. It's 256 times 2, 512. A lot of the new ones are 512 encrypted as well.
Well, the Avada is hardlined in. You can't broadcast off that.
Right.
but still, it's still cellular going back and forth. So.
I do have one question. Has there been any people trying to take them down when you're using them? Have you seen that?
Not with us using them. We have not had any issues or problems or even had any reports or any complaints with us flying. We notify, part of our protocol is we notify our dispatch when we have a bird in the air, even if it's for training purposes. We will notify them that we have a bird that's up and where our location is. So if they do get a complaint or anything, they can call us on their cell phones and we can talk. But I can tell you, for the past 3 years we've been in operation, I have not known of any.
We will. This one, right? This one literally is designed to be crashed because we're going to fly it in. So if we have a search warrant or a SWAT team call out when somebody's barricaded, we're going to fly this in first. And this is probably going to get destroyed. However, we're going to get real-time intel what's going inside that house before we go in. So it's coming yet, but it will be destroyed.
Also, as far as the Matrice and the Mavericks go, once we put them up high enough, you don't really notice the noise. And by the time that you do, you have other concerns with the officers that are making contact with you. They're going to be the distraction.
And the chief was talking about the Avadas. One really interesting thing with the Avada that it has technology on, it has what we call turtle mode. And basically, if that goes in a house and the guy does swat it down and it ends up on its back, that's okay. We have the capability of once that person has walked away, the camera's still operational, we can actually see what's going on, but as soon as it walks away, we can hit a button on our controller, flips it back upright, and we're back in the air again. So it is actually a very useful piece of technology that we have trained with. We've done quite a bit of training with the Avadas indoor. We've had the opportunity to use the old bowling alley before the new lease came in, but was able to actually do a lot of training and stuff in there once we got the platform up and running. But it has, and we do constant training. Every other month we have in-person training. Then I require everybody to fly at least an hour during their off months that we don't actually have in-person training. So we keep flight logs so we know that the pilots are out and is actually flying. And I've been told by the sergeant in the back that my mouth has been running too much. So
I will say one quick thing, and I know probably some people may be wondering this, is we do operate these things with guardrails. There is state code that dictates how we operate these. So I don't want no one to know that we're just flying these things over people's houses and eavesdropping. There is standards, there's state code, and we have a department policy when we can fly them, when we can't fly them. So if you look up state code, it's pretty restrictive when we can fly them, what we can do with them. So I just want to make sure that everybody has that peace of mind as well, that we are operating them responsibly. And I will say one more thing, and the sergeant might knock me up. Another future plan is what's out there today. I read an article today, and I'm part of a committee in the IACP as far as I'm on the drone committee, and what the new technology is, which I want to be the first in Virginia to do, and we have the infrastructure to do it, is what they call a DFR program, program. That is a drone, and one of these or smaller that sits or is housed in a case outside. It operates through fiber, and it's hooked into your CAD RMS system. So when a call comes in, let's say you have a shooting. Let's say you have a shooting on South Main Street. And for instance, if that drone is housed, let's say above Town Hall, that's where it's a good spot for it, center of town, it will take off automatically through GPS and coordinates so that dispatch comes in. It will fly at that location automatically, and we'll get real-time information on our phones. Even, most of the time, beat the officers there. That is happening now. A lot of agencies are doing that. I won't say a lot, but there's a few agencies now that are doing that. None in Virginia, I don't know. But it's today, and I know some people in Texas and some other states are actually operating drones as first responders. That is the future. I will tell you probably 3 to 5 years from now, that'll probably be a standard. Like this was not the standard in 2018 when we asked the manager for these. Now, as you say, Rappahannock and Sheriff's Office, everybody has these now. But only a few agencies had these when we got these. So that is our goal, is have a drone first responder program. And it just provides more efficiency and more officer safety to have that information before the officer gets to the scene.
This calls for amazing law enforcement. Check it, buddy.
But again, thank you guys, and if you ever had any questions about the drone program, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or MPO Cole. Will be more than happy to answer any questions or any concerns that you may have in the future.
And last year we did an open house, and we flew drones here. We're planning another open house, so come to the open house this spring, summer, and we'll let you see the drones fly and what their capabilities are. They're kind of neat to see. So thank you guys.